All right, everybody, we're back. Welcome to another exciting episode of Conundrum Contingencies. My name is Garland Davis. I'll be your host. This one's going to be special. We have the esteemed Mr. MCknight. MCknight is in South Florida. He has his ear to the ground. He has the ear of the governor, the mayor, and their disciples. He's a learning individual who went to Winston-Salem State, North Carolina. Just all around good guy. He lost a narrow bid for city council back in the day, and he's trying to make Florida and the world itself a better place. Hey, MCknight, say something to the people out in YouTube out there.
Hello.
All right. Now, I want to give a shout out to the Most High, His Son, and the Helper, and let's get to it. Now, Mr. Adolf Hitler once said that the bigger the lie, the easier it is for the people to believe it. Now, sir, I believe that it did. Do you believe that the Holocaust actually happened?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I do too. Since this is a prepping channel, I wonder how many more survivors there may have been, if the bug out bag existed back in the day. And of course, a bug out bag is the bag that you might have by your door, under your bed, or in the closet, with like 3 days worth of provisions. I wonder, would the survival rate have been a little bit higher? Okay, now, go ahead, sir.
No, it wouldn't have been any higher. I'm sure people resist as much as they could. You have to remember they were round up and hauled off.
Yeah, I imagine some of them probably never thought that it would actually happen or would go that far. Now, sir, I was in the Navy. Now, a long time ago, I was on a forecastle, which is the front part of the ship. And when I was overseas, I noticed that we didn't have the safeguards that Great Britain and Israel and some of the other countries that I visited had in place. So I told the crew back then, I said, hey, there's no reason that we don't have more terrorism in the United States. And then not long after I said that, the Oklahoma City bombing happened with Timothy McVeigh. McVeigh is no longer with us. But even though I'm a little bit on the clairvoyant side, I couldn't have saw, that it could be one of our own people that would hurt us like that.
Why?
Because back in those days, sir, the false flag was pretty much a new concept unless you knew, a little bit more about history and the Bay of Pigs invasion. I mean, they've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time, probably since maybe even before the USS Maine went down to the bottom. I mean, it was a real shock. I mean, to me, and the way that our government reacted to it, and then the other guy turned a plea deal against McVeigh, and then they gave the boy the needle, and he was out of there. I mean, I just can't believe that he killed all those people. And I actually got to ride past, since I'm from Kansas, I actually rode past the Ryder truck store where he rented that vehicle out. But I can't believe just because he didn't make special forces any more than I believe just because Hitler couldn't be the artist that he wanted to be, that they killed all those people. There's got to be a lot more to it than that.
Well, I really not. He will not do it again, so it doesn't really matter now. He will not do it again.
Okay. So I was at home sick when the whole September 11, 9/11 thing went down. I was at home having chicken soup, trying to get better, and my roommate was there. And then the first plane crashed into the first building, and I didn't know where to begin. And then the second plane here, where were you, and what are your thoughts concerning that?
I'm sure we are safer now than what we were then, and if we are not, that's our fault. See, so that has happened, that's gone, and nothing I can say will change that. Maybe we can be more guarded about things like that.
When I was in the Navy, we had to go to firefighting school, and if I had been in command, when the first building disintegrated, I would have told the people in the other building, you got 60 seconds to get whoever you can get now and fall back. I know a lot of people probably would have hated me for it or thought it was a little bit cowardly, but I would have tried to cut the fire department and the city's losses. But aside from that, I think the people should hang. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't had a major investigation. And some people think that even if they fired everybody and they put everybody in prison, the system itself is so corrupt that it wouldn't matter if you put Pat Robinson behind in there. It just wouldn't matter. What do you think?
Why did you put Pat Robinson in?
Because he's supposed to be a goody two-shoes. And I was trying to illustrate that no matter how good or bad the man might be, I mean, you can't do it all by yourself. You can say what you want to say about Obama, but you can't just write an executive order for everything that you want to accomplish. You have to have the House and the Senate behind you, or you got an uphill battle just to get a 1% tax increase on something that's going to benefit everybody.
Well, the tax plan does not benefit me at all. I am a victim of it. I am a victim of it. It doesn't benefit me.
All right. Moving on to the JFK assassination. You don't really think that one man acted alone and was able to assassinate the president by himself?
Look, all of these things have passed and in history now. I don't want to sit here and try to rewrite history. These things have happened. They're past. They're gone. You know, and these things will never, ever happen again.
Okay. You do have a pretty good point. All right, sir. Moving on. A long time ago, 2 females in my family said that they saw a UFO. Now, it really doesn't matter if they did or if they didn't, although, like I said in the previous video, I think the Air Force knows everything that's up there. But they're not really credible sources because they smoke marijuana on a daily basis. So I have to take what they said as a grain of salt. I've never seen a UFO. Do you think they exist, sir?
Look, let me say this. I don't believe we are the only living being in the universe. And no, I don't care anything about UFOs. No, I have never seen one. I don't know anyone that has reported seeing one. And yes, if Tim Lee didn't see them, I don't know how anyone else could.
All right, fair enough. Now, when I was in Texas, somebody approached me and they told me that they knew somebody that had developed a cure for AIDS. Now, knowing what we know about the American Medical Association, I mean, do you really think that they would suppress a cure for cancer or any major disease and let a bunch of people die for the sake of a buck?
Yes.
Well, that's a horrible thing. I know there's more money in treating stuff than in curing stuff, but I mean, if anybody found out for certain that was true, I think there might be a major uprising. Now, the guy told me that he knew somebody that had found a cure for AIDS and HIV. So I told him, I said, listen, take my number, take my email. I said, I went to school to be a social worker. I went to K-State for that cause and that purpose. I said, I don't have anything to fear from the American Medical Association or their cronies or the pharmaceutical companies. I said, give me the information. I'll let you get the Nobel Prize. I'll let you get the claim to fame or whatever. I'll just be the front man. And, you know, think about how many people we could help. I said, give the guy my information. I'll put it out there. I'll go on the radio. I'll do a live podcast. I'll do whatever we have to do to save some lives. But I never heard from the guy again. Now,
I'm sure you did. I don't entertain those kinds of conversation. If you're not a scientist, then get away with me about something you discovered. That if it's growing on you and you discovered, then maybe I could believe that. Well, but come on.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there because he never got back with me. But I mean, I don't think
so much goes into research into that's just downplaying it. You know, research is really a real business, a real science. It's not pseudo at all.
Okay. So I take it you probably don't believe in ghosts either.
No.
I don't either. I almost bought one of those. I forgot what the.
What am I to gain for believing in something as far-fetched as that? What is to happen?
Well, that's what I asked myself.
The people who do believe that, what do we get out of it?
Again, I was getting ready to agree with you. I said if I spend a few bucks on a gadget that's going to pick up a funny vibration or something like that, okay, where do I go from there? But I don't actually believe that ghosts exist. I believe there may be demons pretending to be something they're not, and there may be men pretending to be something they're not. But I don't believe in ghosts myself, and I don't believe for an instant that the Air Force doesn't know everything that's up in the clouds. Okay, so that brings us to the point: flat Earth, round Earth, something in between. What do you think?
So I'm interested in biology. So could I actually believe in science and think the Earth is flat? Where are these people? What rock do they live under? I mean, come on with that. They don't run anything but their mouth until somebody punches them in it and then they'll shut that up.
Well,
So come on with that. Come on.
Only thing I can tell you, I'm not going to say whether I think it's.
I guess these people don't believe that we went to the moon. So if I believe we have been to the moon, why would I believe in some talking bull of a flat Earth? Why would I believe that?
I'm not sure if it's flat. I'm not sure if it's flat or if it's round, but I do know from the air, sea, and land, it looks pretty doggone flat. Okay. I know also that.
I don't see the whole Earth. So
That's true.
I don't see the whole Earth. I've not been high enough to see the whole Earth.
All right.
So no.
I don't really think they put a man on the moon, but I don't have enough evidence to say whether or not I think that it's flat or not. I do know that I've been told since I was 5 years old that the sun is 93 million miles away. I don't believe it now, and I didn't believe it then. What I do know, though, is NASA means to seduce or to deceive in Hebrew. That much I do know. And like I said, wherever I saw it.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What do you know that tells you that the sun is not 93 million miles away? What do you know? Are you just picking something and say, oh, I believe that? Because people do that too.
That's true.
So, do you have some concrete anything? Do you have that based on some fact?
No, I don't have it for or against either way. I cannot prove that it is. I cannot prove that it isn't. That is why I asked you for your opinion, sir.
Then it's a cockaboo. And you had something, well, I know it's not because just in case it's the, so don't tell you they knew it and tell you why they know it.
Now, sir, that brings me to the next point. Now, this is science here. This is pure science. Okay, a few years back, I had heard that the Japanese had developed a very powerful telescope. And since let me finish.
Who did you hear that from? A barber?
No. Just look. Hear me out.
Yeah, but consider the source.
Okay, now, when I heard that they had built this powerful telescope, I was happy and overjoyed because you believe that they put a man on the moon, and I don't. So I figured, okay, coming out in January, Japan is going to let us know the truth. Okay, when January the 1st came, it was announced that the United States government and the Japanese government came to the agreement, and none of the photographs would be released to the public. And I was very disappointed because that could have settled it once and for all. Either you got a rover and all this other junk on the naked surface of the moon, or you don't. But for some reason, they didn't disclose it. So I was pretty disappointed. I can't sit up here and say, okay, they didn't disclose because they didn't go up there. They just didn't disclose it.
What's that announced in?
I can't remember the source, sir, but it was.
I'd like to read that. What was the source of that?
Okay, but again, I don't know why they wouldn't disclose it. I mean, if they got something up there they don't want us to see.
Tell me the truth and I'll go read it.
All right, I'll get back with you on that. I will. Okay.
Okay.
Now, moving on. Let me see here. All right. Do you really think there is a war on drugs?
Yes.
Okay. Let me tell you why I don't really believe there's a war on drugs.
Ask all those black men that are locked up for drugs whether they make it to one.
Okay, yes, you see the black man and the brown man and the yellow man getting arrested. But check this out. All right, when I was in the Navy, we got assigned. I was on the Nicholas, okay, and we had a Coast Guard attachment. All right, we were supposed to patrol a 30 by 30 nautical mile box, and we were supposed to interrogate every ship that came into our sector. And I was volunteering for stuff. I already knew how to drive the ship, which was a fast frigate with guided missiles. Okay, I volunteered and I learned how to drive the small, little coxswain boats that you see SEALs in dramatizations. Okay, when I got through doing all of that, we didn't make a bus for 87 days. On the 87th day, we got a wire from the FBI, and the FBI told us, be on the lookout for a small craft. Now, keep in mind, sir, this operation costs $100,000 a day. All right. So you got the Navy, the FBI, and the Coast Guard working together. Okay. When we got the wire, they told us who was on the small craft, their names, their social security numbers, what kind of dope they had, how much dope they had, and where the stuff was hid on the craft. If they knew that, they could have busted those folks before they got into international waters. We could have hit every port in South America and went to Rio de Janeiro and still came back in time to make that first bust. And you know how much we seized, sir? 2.2 keys. We spent $9 million and seized 2.2 keys. So when that happened, my second in command, the XO, the executive officer, he was shaking his head. And then, the good old boys started getting rough with Colombians that we put on board. We towed their craft. We auctioned it off. And that left a pretty bad taste in my mouth, sir, because I thought I was really out there making a difference. And I was a pawn with a capital P on that one. Sir?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that has to do with the medical drug. I have no idea.
All right. Well, we're getting toward the close of this interview, sir. Last topic I had for your scrutiny, are you a man of faith?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then you probably realize that if you do have a God, then you have to have Jesus, and then you have to have all the rest of it. You have to have angels and demons and the whole rest of it. Do you concur?
No.
No.
I don't have to have demons.
Do you believe there is a heaven or hell?
I choose not to have demons. It's my choice not to have them.
Well, that certainly doesn't mean that they don't exist, just like you could say, well, I haven't seen...
I didn't say they didn't exist. I didn't say that. But they're not existent for me.
Well, that's true.
I don't recognize.
That's fine, sir. I mean, I've never visited under a dome.
I was taught that the devil has no power. Well, if the devil has no power, he can't get power from me.
Well, in a sense, his power is pretty limited. But, I mean, just because you've never seen a military underground bunker, that doesn't mean that, they don't exist either. Okay. Well, for any of you atheists and agnostics out there, I wish, my opinion is a little bit biased because I am an ordained minister and I have been a part of miracles. I have, seen people get healed on the spot, and I've seen some miraculous things happen. But I don't have any of that on tape, so I can't prove it. And if God went back to doing things the way that he used to do in the days of the early Israelites, I don't think that the harvest would be much greater because people would try to write it off and probably still go back to doing things that they want to do anyway. So that about wraps it up, Mr. MCknight. I want to thank you for stopping by. I want to encourage all you people, like I said in other videos, first sign of trouble, fill up a tub, prepare, use good judgment and common sense, and he and I will both try to make the world a better place in our own way. So, Mr. MCknight, please say bye to the good people in YouTube. I thank you for appearing on Conundrum Contingencies, and I wish you the best. Any final thoughts, sir?
Thank you very much, and may God bless the audience.
All right, guys. We're out of here. Like Bugs Bunny used to say, strategy, but if you don't prepare, it's going to end in tragedy. We out.